Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Now, I love travel. You know this. I share my travels with you all the time. And whenever I post a video on one of my cruises or travels, I often get comments that say, it's great for you, Margaret, but I don't like to travel. I'm scared of traveling alone. I don't have enough money to travel. I love watching your adventures, but it's just not for me. And I realize that a lot of women in their 60s and 70s, 80s are not into travel in the same way that they were perhaps in their 20s or 30s. That, it's just a different experience. And I want to share with you some thoughts about it, because I think that if you're dreaming about a holiday, but you haven't got the money, or you haven't got the energy, or you haven't got the mobility to do that, there's other ways you can travel virtually. Now, one of our bloggers, Sue Rudolph, wrote this article now, and I've actually written articles about this before, but Sue does a really nice job of talking about virtual tours and the latest and greatest, because there are so many apps and on YouTube videos and other online resources that I want to share with you, and maybe you can get some inspiration for your next trip. Travel is stressful these days, and I know that a lot of people don't like to fly. I'm not a big flying fan. I prefer to go by train or even bus, but I know that there's a lot of stress involved with travel. Clothes to take, or how to pack. But via technology, we can make it easy. There's no queuing. There's no stress. There's no waiting at the airport, or delayed flights or any of those things. You can just sit on your sofa or at your desk in your chair and just go to places that you want to go. Now, yesterday I went to Tokyo. Not really, but I went, not Tokyo, to Kyoto. And I went to Kyoto because I was there maybe, 30 years ago, a long time. I went with my ex-husband, and I really, really loved it. And I was wondering, what is it like now? I'd like to go back, because it was a beautiful, small-ish town full of monasteries, and very, very spiritual kind of place to me anyway. Zen was the kind of the word that I used to describe it. But I went there on a Pro Walk virtual tour. Now, Pro Walk has been around for years. They just basically go and walk around cities and towns, talk to you, play music, and actually leave some of the background noise as well. So you're kind of walking just with them on a place, and they show you the little map of where they're going and discuss the different places that they stop. And so I went on this trip with Pro Walk. No charge, they're free, and they're on YouTube. And it was so interesting because Kyoto has changed a lot. It seems like a big city to me now, but it still has the essence that was fascinating at the time. So for no cost, no effort, I just had a big cup of tea here and some cookies. I just enjoyed walking around Kyoto with Pro Walks. That's one idea. But if you want to do something more exotic, like say, for example, I've always wanted to go to Machu Picchu, or I've always wanted to go to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, or I've always wanted to see the Taj Mahal. I'm never going to see the Taj Mahal. And when we get into our 60s, this is like kind of a reality, like the chances of getting to India in your 60s, if you haven't, saved up and whatever, and you're comfortable going to places like that you're not going to go. So go virtually. Now, Sue does a good job of putting some links in the article she wrote. So go check out the article. I'll put a link to it. But you can view the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro. You can go to Angkor Wat. You can visit the Taj Mahal, or any of the smaller places too. It doesn't have to be like the major places. Maybe you've got a little place. Tell me where you'd like to go. Let's just have a little chat in the middle of this about places you'd like to go. Would you like to go to Rome and look at the Sistine Chapel? Would you like to go to the Great Wall of China? Would you like to walk along that? Would you like to go to, the Barrier Reef in Australia, or visit your ancestors' home in Ireland, or Wales, anywhere in the UK? Would you like to go to Stonehenge? Think about all the little places not little, big places that you always wanted to visit, and see whether or not you can find online, a place. I actually, as you know, or maybe you don't know, I actually wrote a book called 77 Cities on 7 Hills. And it was my absolute ridiculous fascination with the fact that 77 plus cities say that they're built on 7 hills. So I did the research and I put this little book together. I published it. It's on all over the place, but it was really, for me, an adventure. And so I thought, well, what if I haven't been to more? I think I've been to 14 now of these 77 cities. And they're big places like Prague and Rome and Bath, and they're places you'd know. Moscow, really big places. But I thought, well, I'm never going to get to this one, Kampala in Uganda, hardly, low chance. But anyway, I went online, and I now and again just pick up one of the IEC in Romania and just go and have a little tour. And number one, I discovered some brilliant bloggers, people that are out there in their world, Slovakia, Slovenia, all the Eastern European countries, just showing you around the place, telling you about the history. And I just found it so fascinating. And I have a little jar now with all the names of the cities, and I occasionally just pull one out and then just go, yeah, let's go to IEC in Romania. And it's just been fun. But that's, a way to get to see some of these cities that you never might have a chance of seeing. If you want to go explore the fjords in Norway, or the volcanoes in Africa, or you want to just go to, like I mentioned, I'd like to go to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. I'm sure that there is a video that it has someone diving and showing the beautiful corals and just the scenery there. So they're out there. YouTube is your friend. I know some of you don't like technology and you're not that interested in it, but if you want to travel, haven't got the energy, time, or money, then do virtual travel. Now, live action, there's a lot of webcams around the world, this is another thing that I discovered during COVID, because I was like everybody kind of not freaking out, but just like, what is going on? Like, the world has stopped. Like, no one's in this, in Venice, the water started to get clear. And I think there were dolphins in the canals in Venice. Things just stopped. And I went to webcams, which are like, they've got people they put, so cities sometimes, but other tourist groups have put these cameras up all around the world, so you can go to the beach somewhere, or you can go to the Taj Mahal and get a live view of that scene. It's like a webcam. And there's a company called earthcam.com. There's one called Skyline Webcams. And this is all in Sue's article. I think I'm mentioning a few extras that she has not mentioned. But Skyline Webcams have cameras pointed at some of the most amazing city views and famous attractions. It's really, really cool. So those webcams are a way to see a city live, like actually in action, which I think is super cool. I'm gonna make sure I've got the another thing that she mentions, which I think is fun, is there's movies and films that were filmed and based in certain places. So like the Lord of the Rings was in New Zealand, Outlander, Scotland, the Beach movie was in Thailand. Let's see, Emily, one of my favorite movies of all time, was in Paris, of course. Lost in Translation was in Tokyo. So if you don't want to do like the formal kind of thing, just watch the movie. You'll be there with them in those places. The Talented Mr. Ripley for Sicily and Rome, Venice. So those are movies that you can always look at. Make the most of it. If you don't want to travel like on like a walking tour, you don't want to actually like sightsee, go to the opera. Go to Covent Garden Opera House, or go to different places like the New York Metropolitan Museum. All of this is online. And I know that like they go online from online. I mean, what's the point? But for me, if I can't go there in person, this is good enough. This is great. You can also do things like cooking classes. And I think I remember mentioning to you, I took a cooking class in Jaipur, and it wasn't like the city tour, but it was certainly like in someone's kitchen they were cooking. But if you have a fascination for a place, like me and my 7 Hills cities, go ahead and do it virtually. Why not? And if you've got any that you've discovered that are really, really cool that you'd like to share with us, the names of these, like ProWalk, or there's Webcam Taxi, which is webcams around the globe as well. Virtual Safari is another one. It's explore.org. And these are ones where you can go like to watch a zoo, or I do it with my grandkids sometimes. We go and watch the panda bears, or we go watch the little baby kittens in a little home for cats. What do you call them? Shelters. And you could just see the world through your computer if you're really interested. And I certainly am. But I think it's called zoolife.com, which you can go watch the zoos. Like San Diego Zoo has a great webcam infrastructure, or a camera infrastructure. So just some thoughts about traveling virtually. If you don't want to travel and go through all the stress of packing and the process, just sit down and enjoy a virtual trip. Okay, everybody, well, go out in the world and travel from your sofa. Let me know if you have any specific sites that you go to that you really love. I'd love to be able to share with everybody these sort of virtual opportunities. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Take care, everybody. Lots of love. Bye for now.